Hello, welcome back guys. My name's Danny Burke and today I'm going to be taking a look at the top 10 dumbest flat earth arguments debunked. Maybe you guys are watching this because you're interested in the whole flat earth argument. Maybe you want a video to send to your friend to convince them that it's definitely not true. Maybe you are a flat earther who has already disliked this video and is now heading down to the comment section as I speak. Either way, let's just get into this. For the purposes of this video, I will be using the term round to describe the oblate spheroid shape of the earth as described by the current scientific model. It's just a lot easier to say round. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the horizon. If the earth was flat, the horizon would simply not work the way that it does. One famous example of this is the ship's example. If you guys have ever been on a boat or just by the shore and you've seen a ship in the distance, you'll know that it doesn't just materialize on the horizon like it would if the flat earth model was true. Instead, what happens is the tallest part of the ship appears first and then the rest of it as it gets closer. This only works if the earth is round. Next up at number 9 now, we have the constellations. If the earth was flat, the constellations that you see in the night sky wouldn't change no matter where you are. The thing is, they do. The night sky is different in Australia to what it is in Canada, for example, because they are on almost opposite sides of the globe. Therefore, they never see the same view as each other. This is something that Aristotle noticed over 2,000 years ago on either side of the Mediterranean. Moving on to number 8 now, we have the Great Deception. One of the questions that often comes up with the flat earth debate is, why this big lie? Flat earthers believe that NASA and the US government is lying to everyone about the earth being round because it somehow gives them power or money. Somehow. The answers vary on that one. So let's put that to one side for the moment and let's put the fact that humans knew the earth was round thousands of years before the US even existed. What about other countries? There are currently 72 space agencies around the world. To say that NASA is covering things up and lying to everyone is not enough really. You'd also need to say that every other space agency is in on this lie, including every scientist within them. Either that or they have been given fake scientific instruments to trick them into thinking that all their calculations that require a round earth model are real when actually they're fake. If this sounds crazy, that's because it really is. I honestly think a lot of the reason this whole flat earth thing exists nowadays is because people are a little bit more skeptical of governments. A healthy skepticism is good. Obviously, governments do shady things sometimes. Faking the ancient knowledge of our very planet's shape is not one of them. Alright, at number 7 now we have gravity. If you want to believe the earth is flat, you basically have to throw gravity out the window as we know it. Gravity pulls an object towards another object's center of mass. On a sphere such as the earth, the center of mass is at the very center. This means that gravity is consistent no matter where you stand on earth. It's the simple answer to why things don't fall off the bottom of the earth. If we lived on a flat earth, the center of mass would be in the middle of that flat plane. That means you wouldn't be constantly pulled downwards like on a round earth, you'd always be pulled sideways towards the middle. Which of these sound most close to your reality? At number 6 now we have the stick. This is perhaps the most simple way that anyone on earth can see that the earth is round. If you put a stick in the ground, it makes a shadow. Now depending on how far north or south you are at any given time, the stick would produce different length shadows when the sun is directly overhead. If the earth was flat, then both sticks should have the same length of shadow or none at all because they would be positioned at the same angle towards the sun. The ancient Greeks realized the only explanation for the way that shadows behave would be if the earth was round. They even used this to calculate the circumference of the whole earth over 2,000 years ago, and they were only off by about 10%. If you have some time on your hands and a stick, you can do this for yourself. At number 5 now we have time zones. Now as you guys all know, when it's light on one side of the earth, it's dark on the other. This is because the round earth spins on its axis, meaning the sun's light can only hit a portion of it at once. On a flat earth, the sun should cover all of the earth in light at once. Flat earthers try and explain this by saying that the sun is directional, like a spotlight, and it moves around the earth. The thing is, if it was a sort of spotlight and the world was flat, you would still be able to see it even if it's dark where you are. Think of it like you're sitting in a theatre. Your seat may be in the dark, there's a spotlight on the people on the stage. Just because it's not on you, you can still see that spotlight. The only way we wouldn't be able to see a gigantic sun spotlight is if the earth curves away from us until we are in complete darkness. At number 4 now we have the blue marble. One argument that a lot of flat earthers make is how different NASA's pictures of Earth have looked throughout the years. They claim it's photoshopped, NASA employees admit that's true, flat earthers claim that's a victory. It's not. Pictures like these are quite often photoshopped into what's known as a composite image, a combination of smaller images put together. That's because the Earth is very big, so to get all of it in one picture, you'd have to go pretty far out. That's exactly what the crew of Apollo 17 did though on their way to the moon in 1972. They took this picture of Earth at a distance of about 18,000 miles. It was dubbed the Blue Marble Picture. It's one of the few true non-composite pictures of Earth. The others are not fake, they're just composites put together using different lenses and different techniques. At number 3 now we have Further from Higher. This is kind of a similar one to our ships from earlier, but it deserves its own point. Anyone who's ever been up a tall building will know you can see further than you can on the ground. You may see a landmark that you just couldn't see until you went higher. Now granted, this is off because there are things blocking our view on the ground, but even if there aren't, you can still see further. On a flat Earth, elevation makes no difference. It only matters if the Earth is round. I once went up the CN Tower in Toronto and I saw buildings further down the lake that I couldn't see when I was standing right on the shore. But then again, NASA is paying me to say that. Moving on to number 2 now, we have other planets. If you have a decent enough telescope or you ever get the chance to use one at an observatory over a period of time, you can take a look at some of the other planets in our solar system. What you will see is that the planets are rotating and we see its surface change as it moves. If they were flat and rotating, they would suddenly look flat and then thin before coming back round to their full circular shape. That's not what happens. This is true for every planet and moon that isn't tidally locked due to gravity. The physics of our universe is what causes the planets to form and behave like this. Earth is also a part of that. And finally, number 1 now, we have the moon. The moon is perhaps one of the biggest giveaways when it comes to the Earth being round. During lunar eclipses, the Earth moves between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon. Firstly, you can see the Earth is round because of the shadow it casts on the moon. That's why it's a crescent moon and not a, semi-circle moon. Secondly, a flat Earth model does not allow the Earth to be pulled between the sun and the moon. They say the sun and the moon both rotate around the edges of the flat Earth disk. Some explanations from flat earthers include the existence of a brown dwarf that passes over the Earth undetected and casts a shadow onto the moon. It's at this point where reasonable scientific discussion based in facts we discovered thousands of years ago are pretty much pointless. There's a very good chance we are all being trolled. Sorry if this upset any flat earthers out there. Hopefully it will encourage you to do your own research. Obviously, don't take my word for it. I'm just a random guy on YouTube, and that's probably how you ended up believing all of this in the first place. So yeah, you have the tools to do your own research using a little bit of basic maths and logic. That's something NASA can never take away from you. Thanks for watching. As always guys, my name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next video.